Hello, my spiritual seekers. Welcome to our next episode of our book club. So, as you know, Falling in Love with God by Rahman Beckwith Saidi is a great book. It's linked below. You can catch up. We are already on chapter 12, so we will be going over that. And you can read and see the previous episodes and just follow along with my book, which is on drrahmanbeckwith.com and on Amazon. So, this week we're talking about some big concepts. We're nearing the end of the book. We're talking about self love. We were talking about seeing divine love in the world. So, our character has really advanced, and I hope you have too. So, let's get into the discussion topics for this week. So, chapter 12. And by the way, of course, there are spoilers, so you want to read before you watch and also participate below in the discussion as we talk about these beautiful concepts of divine love. So, the first activity for this week follows from our character's morning meditations. She is meditating on affirmations this morning. She says, I am love. I am wisdom. I am grace. I am receptive. I am at peace. I am in oneness. So, for your first task, if you would like to do it, you can practice affirmations on divine qualities, feel into them, use these as a guide in the book if you like, or write your own. Whatever genuinely resonates with you is the best affirmation. And you can really let that settle into your body, just like our self-talk in negative ways can affect us, so can our positive, affirmative self-talk, especially when it's calling in the divine. So have fun with that as your first activity for this week's book club. Then, the second activity is a question. It is, what challenges you? What keeps you from your awareness of the all-pervading love of the divine? And this question stems from Charity on page 78, feeling the illusion of separation, feeling that she had been cut off from love due to changing external conditions in the previous chapters that we've learned about. But this transient love was not sufficing, and she had to realize that she could tune into eternal love. So she was able to find that love from which she was made, which she exists. So the question is, what keeps you from your awareness of the all-pervading presence of love in your life? Because it's there for you. You can find it. So, the third activity from this chapter, it's one of my favorites. It's exciting to think about this, I think. So, in this chapter, she is going to her friend who is a mystic who owns the bookstore, and she has this spiritual book with ancient symbols, and her friend reads to her, to Charity, about her life, about her sort of cosmic origin, about her unique path. So the third question for you this week is to do the same thing, to examine your birth date, the year, perhaps even have a chart analysis done by someone if you can find someone that you trust to look at these symbols. Try to understand the circumstances of your birth, the place, the time, the family to which you were born, the community, the race, the religion, any special skills or inclinations that you have, the education you received or chose, the name that you were given. What were you called? That's a very mystical question. I am called Rahman, meaning the most merciful. I am called the most compassionate. So what were you called? What does your soul resonate? So just trying to understand these things is a key to understanding your mission on earth, to feeling who you truly are as a soul. So that is what our character does. She goes into understanding why she's on earth. So trying to figure that out, Charity comes to the understanding that she is a charity herself to humankind, right? So she understands the signs have aligned for her to realize her purpose is to become a grace, a mercy to humankind, a charity. So, the fourth task for this week is to write your own personal mission statement, what your soul's mission is upon the earth, just like Charity discovered. And finally, after that, we have a fun fifth activity, which is self appreciation. So basically, Charity, after learning, who she really is as a being, after understanding her purpose, she sits down and she journals and reflects and meditates. And I will read it to you so you can have some idea of how to do a self appreciation meditation. She says, I love myself. I love how passionate I am. I love that I am tuning into my divine self. I love my devotion to wisdom and harmony. I love how I bring this energy to those around me. I love how I am learning to be blissful by myself. I love that I can focus my mind. I love the clarity that I've learned to develop. I deeply appreciate my search for truth and my commitment to well-being in every moment. So she just goes on and on in this beautiful self-appreciation, and so you can do the same thing. So that's the fifth activity for this week. So the next chapter, Signs of Love. She's in love. This is what the name of the chapter is, In Love. So the first task for this chapter is to be as Charity is. Look for signs of divine love in the mundane world, the regular world around you, now that you have eyes to see love. So this is what Charity does. Basically, it says, for the next week, Charity stayed in an elevated state. She was aware of love at nearly every turn, in every moment. The flowers on the street vendors' corner stands were bouquets from the divine just for her. The sun kissed her nose with personal affection. The lovers walking by were promises of human companionship in its many beautiful forms. The puppies barked affection up at her. They knew that she was a vessel of divine love. Strangers sometimes smiled at her, especially children. They could sense her joy. One day, while in Sarasvati's coffee shop, an old woman walked over to Charity and told her, I see God in your eyes. It was the nicest compliment Charity had ever received. For the first time in her life, Charity felt complete. So that was page 87, 88. And so you also have these eyes now to see the divine everywhere around you. So practice that. Look for it, notice it, enjoy it, bask in it. So the second activity on page 90-91, it's to interpret this poem that Charity reads. It says, Shams to every creature. So she's in a coffee shop. She's reading one of her favorite poems. Shams to every creature. I thought I was Rumi looking for Shams, that radiant sun of spiritual inspiration. But then I realized that I am Shams, and every creature is my Rumi. So basically, this poem is from the end of the story, I Am Rumi, Where is My Shams? From the contemporary mystical author Rahman Bekut Saidi, whose work Charity loved and often featured in her class. I Am Rumi, Where is My Shams was a divine love story about a character named Rumi who traveled to the Mediterranean and found love and spiritual awakening. Charity had really felt inspired when she read this story, as it spoke to her own path. But now, Charity was finally understanding this final poem from the story. Once one has graduated into divine love, one becomes the sun of inspiration and shares love with others. Just as the historical character Shams, whose name means sun, was a beloved spiritual inspiration to the famous poet Rumi, so too can anyone who embodied divine light become a source of love and inspiration for humanity. So you can understand this, meditate upon this poem. What does it mean to you to be a sun to the world? Third activity. Do you see yourself being able to reach the state of divine humanhood described on page 94? It's very similar to what we just spoke of Charity is speaking of the kings and queens who understand that they are divinely appointed. So basically, embracing the fact that you're a divine representative, a, a divine being upon the earth. So, can you see yourself understanding this concept, reaching for this, experiencing this on page 94? The next activity is to reflect upon Charity's realization that nothing can satisfy the heart other than the fullness of itself. And that is what Charity is realizing. She says people look outside of themselves to try to find some fulfillment for their longings in the transient, but this everlasting love within the own heart of each being is really what satisfies. So only divine bliss can truly satisfy the heart. So that is the last reflection, just to meditate upon that epiphany. I'll just read it really quickly because I'm enjoying it myself. People do not realize that their true desire is for the everlasting love, which is actually within their own hearts. So instead of pursuing enlightened realization of self-love and divine reality, they look outside of themselves, always trying to find something to satisfy their longings. But nothing can satisfy the heart other than the fullness of itself. And the heart is not made full by things that are ephemeral, passing, or unreliable. Only divine bliss can truly satisfy the heart. Page 95. So reflect upon that. What does that mean? And also, if you have made it this far in the video, we are connected. You and I are connected. You are so loved and appreciated for who you are, the unique soul, and on your unique path. Please do comment below to any answers to these questions. I would be happy to read as many as I can. And also, stick around for the next video because the universe might be speaking to you through YouTube, which is recommending another video for you to watch. So check it out, enjoy. All of my love, and see you next time. Bye!